years ago, in 1972, I was living in Philadelphia. I was in a band with Bunny and Tom, and Robin was still not even born then. And we were living in Philadelphia, and my wife got pregnant, and I was a musician, and the three of us we were in a band called Sick Man of Europe, and no wonder we didn't get any jobs. And she got pregnant, and I didn't have any insurance, and we were from the Midwest, and so a gentleman named Paul Hamer, who was a mailman at the time, his hair was done to his ass, and in a braid, and he knew that I had guitars, and he came to Philadelphia, and he gave me $2,500 for a Les Paul, for a 1960 Les Paul that I had that I didn't want to sell, but, and 22 years later, there's the son that I lost my guitar just because of him. And he's sitting over, here's Aaron, he's his 5th year of college at Miami of Ohio, and he's there, he's not a musician, he's on a golf scholarship, but he came out here, he came out here because he did a job audition at Oakley Sunglass Company, and I think we got him a job just 2 days ago. So that's where I met Paul Hamer, and then after that he opened a music store called Northern Prairie Music in Evanston, Illinois, and it was a vintage store, and they started making guitars, and they made the very first Hamer, and I was the guinea pig, and that's actually how the company started. I was the first guy, and I don't own any stock, and I'm still pissed off. Yeah, that's right. Paul Hamer was thrown out of the company. There's nobody named Hamer there anymore.
Hey, his name looked best on the headstock.
Yes.
Hey, Rick, where did the checkerboard motif come from?
I was high. Oh no, that's every answer. That's the answer. I don't know. I liked it. I didn't. A lot of the world I thought was kind of black and white, and I thought that this was a good way to get it across. Good answer? Another answer. Okay, good enough. Next question.
What record label are you with now?
Well, as a matter of fact, we're on 2 different labels. We're on JVC in Japan, and we're actually with a. We're signing probably this week with the company's called Castle, but we're also starting our own record label. So we're looking for we're actually looking for a few good musicians to put on our own label. And Sub Pop, we have a single coming out. We're working with Steve Albini. That's coming up. We're going to have a single on Sub Pop probably. We're going to do it in November, and we start recording our next album starting next month, which next month is tomorrow. Uh-oh, we better write some junk quick. Oh, we got plenty of that stuff. We just had a 4 CD box that just came out last week. It was called Sex, America, and Cheap Trick, which was actually named by Conan O'Brien from that TV show we did there. And it just came out. It's got 64 tunes on it, 30 of them unreleased because we'd always have extra tracks. And so with all these extra tracks, Bunny's the archivist, and he's the audiophile, and we all approved all this stuff, but he had to wallow through all this stuff to get to 64, and we still have tons more though. So that just came out, so that's available now, and our next record will probably be out in February.
Any new styles of music?
We're gonna try polkas from now on. I don't know. You got any ideas?
Rock and roll.
Duh, hey. We haven't done that one yet, so. Our favorite songs?
I like Wilco, it's a new group, guys from Aqua Tupelo. Wilco's real good. The album's called AM. Sunvolt, they're from the same band. I like listening to that stuff, rock and guitars and drums mostly. And we like some progressive rock from the 70s when we grew up. Groups like Pato were real good players.
No one's ever heard of them, but they're great.
But they're worth looking for. They're on an English label called Vertigo. You can find stuff by them. What do you get lately, Tom?
I don't know. I can't think It's just so damn high when I listen to music.
You know those bass players. Tom has probably the newest record or CD collection of all of us. At least, last record I bought, I think, was the Beatles' first album. I think. Well, let's see. We were called a bunch of different stuff, and yeah, screw you, piece of shit. You know, we were called lots of stuff, and we were playing in clubs in Wisconsin and Illinois and Iowa and Michigan, and we'd have to go in and play 3 and 4 sets a night, and we'd say, "Oh, do you play cover songs?" Yeah, sure. You know, anything to get the job. And usually after about 2 shows or 2 sets, we'd get fired. And one week we were playing this place called Sammy G's Flying Circus in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And after 2 nights, we didn't get fired. And that week we were called Cheap Trick because we'd have to change our name to get jobs back at a place. And Cheap Trick was the name that we used the week that we didn't get fired, and so it stuck. It's true. Otherwise, we might be called Ozzie and Harriet, the Horny Bulls, the Randy Men, the Swingin' Dicks. Lots of good stuff.
Now, Robin, what were you doing before Cheap Trick?
Stand-up comedy. No, I was in a duet for a while. During high school, I was in various bands. I knew Bunny. Bunny and I met in a couple different bands that he had, and we worked together a little bit. And I was playing in coffee shops and bars throughout the country. And one time, these guys came up to see me, and Bunny suggested they had a singer, and they'd lost their singer or fired him or something. I don't know.
Fired.
What happened to him.
We still know where he is. He's not lost.
And anyway, they came up to see me play, and I was with this other guy in a duo, and their manager at that time said, "Hey, why do you want this guy in the group? This guy stinks, man. This guy is really not only
It was the other
ugly
guy.
and all this stuff." I think he was talking about the other guy. I'm hoping he was. But
Well, guess what?
I got hired in
That
spite of it.
manager is gone, and so is that other guy. And Robin was playing in Wisconsin Dells at it was a bar, but he was playing Lookout Lounge, playing Bee Gees songs and Beatles songs and Neil Young songs, and the guy had an incredible voice, but and we needed him, and we offered him $50 less than he was making. He was making way more than we were. He was making about $150 a week, and we were making about $100, and we promised him $200, and he fell for the lie, and we got him.
I have 2 questions for Robin. First one is, did you have any vocal training before you started singing professionally? And the second one is, how do you keep your voice in shape when you're on the road on tour?
the second question, I really don't know the answer to that. Clean living and perseverance. I didn't have any formal training really, but in school and high school and stuff like that, I was in choir and I was in theater and stuff like that. So, and my dad is a singer and musician also, so I grew up with it in the house. And that's about it.
He used to sing in choirs and stuff in high school, and he was in a thing with both Robin's and my father's. They both died last year, but they were both active in music. But Robin sang in the Mikado, if you know what that is. I mean, it wasn't all just rock and pop stuff. It was like some more serious stuff. But we are gentlemen from Japan. You know, it's like kind of this corny junk. But it was cool. You know, so it's all good training. I think anything is good except putting a nail through your head and screaming at the top of your lungs. Although I have tried that. It's not bad.
Also, Rick's dad and I did a show together that he put together, wrote the music for, and we did about 2.5, 3 hours worth of music, and he was an opera singer, as Rick said. So I mean, being close to all these guys, and you know, his dad, my dad, and just by osmosis somehow, I guess I became a singer. I bought my first guitar from his dad's shop when I was about 12 years old. So.
Have you paid for it yet?
No.
Rick, what for Tom? How did you come up with the 12-string bass idea?
The question was, how did Tom come up with the 12-string bass idea?
Well, Chris,
Yes, Tom.
I
Please tell us.
Well, we're in a, we've got just a small group here, so I just thought it'd be nice to have a guitar like playing along with the bass. It's really like a 12-string guitar and a bass at the same time. And we knew this guy, the mailman, Paul Hamer, and he wasn't known as the mailman for delivering the mail. But anyway, he said we talked him into it's part of the reason why he's gone from the company, right, Chris? Whoa. He's a funny guy. But anyway, we convinced him to do this instrument, and they did it. The company was just starting out. They didn't really know quite what they were doing, and I just thought it'd be good, just a bigger sound. It's really like an orchestrated sound, a lot of strings, and there's nothing to it, really.
Yeah, he's very modest.
Just 12. Oh, how many bass strings? Just 4. Just 4. The normal, whatever they're called. I don't know yeah, it's strung like a piano. Is that right? What the hell? See? There's no room for anything else. What? Yes. Nah.
Slapping a 12-string. Get that guy out of here. Come on.
Slapping. Come on.
Carry him out nude, tar, and feather him.
Are you kidding me?
Figures.
Are the fiddles and strings tuned an octave higher?
Yes. Just the normal bass strings, and then these octave strings are higher in unison. See?
Tom, how come you're not using a hammer today?
I don't like them, but I like this Chandler. It's great. What can you do?
This is a temporary situation where we have some technical difficulties on stage.
That's why you shouldn't do endorsements, because then you can do whatever the hell you want. Always buy your instruments.
I don't do endorsements. They're just suckers and gave me a bunch of junk. Because I use whatever I want to, because I use Gibsons and Fenders and Fernandez and custom-made things. But today, these are some of my other children already.
I'd do an endorsement, but they won't let me.
Nobody's offered you anything good.
All right, that's why I don't do one either.
Rick, what's the difference between the 3 middle necks and the 5 neck?
You go to school here and you can't figure that out? The one in the middle has a vibrato bar it's got a vibrato thingy. And then the one that's closest to the fretless, the one that's closest to me here, that has those soap bar pickups, so it's kind of a little better sound for some slide. And then the other one is just a normal 6-string, and then the top one's a 12-string. 36 strings, and I had a roadie that worked, this is the second 5-neck I have. The other one, it was just falling apart. It traveled around the world so much, and
Including getting stolen.
it got stolen once. Yeah. Gee, let's see. How can we fence this? There's not too many of them around. So a roadie I had for over 20 years finally quit. He said 36 strings on one thing is too much. So one of the things that I did change on this, I made banjo tuning pegs on the back, because if you configure the regular guitar with all the pegs going out like this, if you try to get your hands in there to try to tune all those 36, it's pretty impossible. Now it's a little easier, but I did get a new guy. We'll let you carry it out and find out. It's equal big, and it's huge. It weighs a lot.
Almost as much as I do.
Not that much. Ouch.
Oh.
Hey,
I'm used to it, don't worry. Bun, why don't you talk about...
Well, wait a minute. Nobody asked him anything.
I want to hear from the man, okay?
We're not in the Army. We didn't volunteer.
Okay. You're known as being quite the avid drum collector and probably have one of the premier drum collections, period. How did you get into collecting drums?
He doesn't play Premiere, by the way.
I collect drums because I couldn't get, in 1980 or so, I couldn't get good sounds out of gear I was using, so I started picking up old brass snare drums from the 20s and 30s. And now they're making them again. Now they're very popular, but they sound real good. And old drums, when you don't have a lot of money, are great. You can throw them in the back of the truck. You can hit them with 3-foot drumsticks, and it doesn't hurt them. And I did all those things. And I just started collecting things, and you start ending up with a lot of gear. You know, when I go in the studio now, I take in like a half a dozen snare drums, 4 or 5 brass ones, and a wood one or two. I take in 5 or 6 22-inch ride cymbals, a couple different sets of hi-hats, a lot of crash cymbals. So you got to almost end up being a collector by the time you make 5 or 10 albums, and you just start using a lot of gear, and stuff adds up. Now I've got over 200 drums, but mostly I collect Gretsch and Ludwig drums. They're both real well made, and they're American, which I like to use American gear.
Why don't you guys talk about reflecting on, we're dealing with record companies and some of the business end of the spectrum that the musicians are going to be dealing with once they get out of school here.
The record company is the enemy. They're after your money.
That's right. Yes. Never sell your publishing.
Never. Sell a piece of administration. Do not sell everything. It's through thick and thin, because we've had so many ups and downs. We've had, well, we had a few ups. We've had lots of down. And, you know, if it wasn't for us sticking together, I mean, there's no record company that holds your hand or coddles you, or if you get a publishing company and they say, hey, I'll go sign with us, we're going to do this. If you imagine us, we've been together for 23 years. And, yeah. Well, I've been playing with Tom in a group since 1967. Jesus.
You're like kind of like the Osmonds.
Really, we really aren't the real band. We're the children of the first Cheap Trick. Yeah, Jesus. Well, except for that one guy over there. You know, they didn't really. Like I was saying about the publishing company, I mean, we were signed to different people, and in that whole time that we've had a publishing deal, I think we've had maybe 2 covers that the publishing company went out and got for us. And if that's the reason they're supposed to get 50%, they're they're thieves, total thieves. So that's from the heart and from the wallet telling you, give them a piece to administer it, because you're not going to run around and figure out what to do with the, you know, how to get BMI or ASCAP or who's going to play it on the radio if you're lucky enough to get that far. But if you think they're going to do you a great job and go out and hunt down and find people to work for to cut your songs, forget it.
And
gee, does that sound like it's full of venom? Yeah.
Truth.
we learned this one the hard way. If you're making money, record companies don't want to deal with musicians. They want to deal with your agent or your manager, booking agents. Club owners don't want to deal with you, concert owners, people like that. So you're going to have a guy managing you. That's a fact of the music business. So you don't give them a lot. Don't give them a quarter or anything like that of what you're making. They'll do it for 10% or 15%. And if there's money coming in, and this is very important, don't let your manager handle the money. Let a financial person or an accountant handle the money, and he'll pay your manager his percentage. The manager has expenses, he'll send an invoice to the accountant. Don't let the manager handle the money.
Why not? What could possibly happen?
We found out different things that can possibly happen. They can do things like they don't cut good deals for your insurance, or they do this or that, or they screw up your pension fund. They do something like that. They do things anybody could do to you, no matter what business you're in. You know, so keep an eye on where the money goes, and always have a lawyer look over any paperwork. It's easy to say, and a lot of people don't do it. You know, and the manager will go, "I'll do this for you. I'll manage your career for you." Well, he'll manage to screw you is what he'll do. So have a lawyer. It costs $50 an hour. Go get some lawyer and have them look at it and go, "What does this say? What do they mean when they say this?" Because a record company contract will be over 100 pages long. So have a lawyer look at it, and then if you need 2 lawyers, if you don't trust the first one, get 2 lawyers, because it's money well spent. That's advice we learned.
It's good to have a checks and balance, you know.
Yeah, and don't hire the manager's lawyer.
True.
get your own crook. You know, the fact that we still have a career, to me, success is the fact that we're still doing what we like to do. Dollars don't really make it. I mean, it's how we live. I mean, we like goods. Being rich or being poor, rich is better. But doing what you like is better, whether, you know, no matter what. So stick with, I mean, you guys are studying here. You paid money to come here, not because you had money to blow and throw away, because you didn't have anything better to do. No, this is a good career move, and you know, grab as much junk and knowledge, but have the most fun you can, because nobody will ever take this away from you.
Hey, Rick.
Huh? Gee, I went to GIT. I went to PIC. You know, I used to, when we first started out, I used to, you know, because I hit the guitar pretty hard, and I used to use old Fender mediums. And then they started going, the Fender mediums got lighter, and I hated them, so I went and got a custom, went to a place because I wanted the right size plastic. And as long as I was doing that, you know, instead of throwing out my business cards and think everybody thought my name was Fender, you know. So I started doing that, and I've used more guitar picks than any musician in the world. I'm in the Guinness Book of World Records, I think. You just made that up.
That's the beer company.
The beer company, yeah.
You purchased more picks. I don't know if you used them all.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've thrown more picks than anybody. Here, see? I just broke my own record. You know, I learned how to play guitar. My parents they were both opera singers, so I was around that kind of music. So it was like way different than what we do, of course. But I used to listen to TV shows and learn how to play the riffs, like Bonanza and Have Gun Will Travel were hits when I was a kid. And oh, that's easy. And let's see.
Dwayne
Eddy? I like Dwayne Eddy, and I like the Ventures. But you know, you hear some of that stuff, it's really dated now, but it was a good way to learn. You know, now if hey, let's see, I want to start with a Steve Vai record. You know, you don't know where to start. You know, what is he playing and how is he, you know, it's like, I think you need the basics. You know, like some Joe Turner records and B.B. King records and stuff that you could actually maybe figure out how to do it, and then you progress from there. And also, my favorite guitarist of all times, and he's still my hero, is Jeff Beck.
Tom.
Yes, sir.
When you're recording, how much recording do you do with the 12-string as opposed to a 4-string? And what decides on the recording which bass you're going to use?
Well, recording, I use the 12-string live all the time. That's all I use. But in the studio, if it's a real heavy guitar song, which most of them are, it doesn't really cut through because it just sounds like an overdub of a guitar playing along with me, so I don't use them. It's not really necessary. I only like to use it if it's, maybe there's solo parts where it really stands out a lot, or if it's a softer sounding track or real slow, moody type thing, then it's great because it's very orchestrated, you know. But I normally use a 4-string bass, like a Fender, Gibson.
Some of the good old classics, absolutely. For God's sakes, I'm not that one-sided.
You know, those kind of things they can't seem to get right. I don't know what they did then, but what the hell's the problem?
With what?
We're busting his balls.
You got to make a decent 4-string.
Okay, hold on, pal. Over your left shoulder. Over your left shoulder.
You're jumping ahead of yourself.
That's okay. He's going to make me become Oprah or something here.
Uh-oh.
No. Hey, Chris, after we leave, then you bring out the hammers that work.
Battle of the bass players. Here we
No.
go.
The cruise bass here, ladies and gentlemen, which we launched last year, which basically were things that Fender should have done with the jazz bass years ago. This was the first bass to get a perfect review in Bass Player magazine. So thank you. We can make a 4-string very well. Thank you, Tom.
Oh. Matter of opinion.
Rick, with all the guitars that you own.
That looks like a jazz bass to me, doesn't it?
It does.
Yes.
Jazz bass is a wonderful bass. Rick, with all of the guitars that you own, how do you decide which one you're going to use on the recordings?
I usually use the one that's the loudest. I mean, I take about, well, thank you. I take about 12 to 20 guitars in the studio with me, and different songs require different things. I mean, my trusty Les Paul, I have a 1958 Les Paul that I've used on every record we've ever done, and because it sounds great no matter what. But then I also use Fender Telecasters and Stratocasters and Hamers, and it just depends on what the song is. And but as far as a basic track, you know, a one humbucker with a volume on 9, 10 gets a little too much distortion for me. But live I use it on 11. But in the studio, that's what I usually use. So you know, we have a whole bunch. I'm looking. There was a quote that Robin or Tom or Bunny said that I've got it in my computer bag, and I asked Carla, works for us, she does publicity for us, and I asked her to go get this because it's very pertinent about what your future is and how we perceive some of these things, and it's a good quote. I want you to hear it. It made that much to me that I saved this little scrap of paper. You'll see it when I get it. Producers are so afraid of the music portion of films, mainly because they don't understand it, that they have to bring in people they call music supervisors just to talk to the composers. Like Rob Reiner once told me, record executives will do anything they can do to keep from talking to the creative side of the business because talent intimidates them.
I said that.
It's Robin Zander. I just thought I'd throw that in. You know, it's like talent intimidates some of the business types. So you know, you guys are the guys that some other people will maybe be at the head of the class or the head of the company, but you guys are the engines. Oh, and if anybody wants to know, last night we played in Santa Ana. Tonight we're playing in Ventura. Tomorrow night we're playing in Nocte Harbor. Next night we're playing in House of Blues next Wednesday. And then we go to Las Vegas,
Gamble,
lose our money, and then we're playing a big outdoor fest coming up. We also played Lollapalooza this summer, and Joey Ramone came up and played with us, and Chris Cornell wrote our song list, and we're actually doing another single, a two-sided single with Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins, which will be out next year too. So we're doing a whole bunch of junk, and we're too dumb to quit. Thank you.
Just the other day I heard of a shoulders falling off, something down easy jump that's going round. Mama's alright, Daddy's alright, they just seem a little weird. Surrender, surrender, but don't give yourself away. Before we marry, money certainly Ouch.
All right, keep